Okay, so you've probably heard this acronym floating around, GRIHA. But what is it really? Well, it's this incredibly important system that's quietly shaping how India builds its entire future, one sustainable building at a time. Today, we're going to break down exactly what this national rating system is all about.
So here's the logo you'll want to look out for. GRIHA actually stands for Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but that name really says it all. It's about looking at our buildings not as standalone objects, but as part of a bigger habitat, and figuring out how they perform environmentally as a whole.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The name itself, Griha, it's a Sanskrit word from the ancient Rig Veda, and it means abode. So this isn't just some dry technical acronym. There's a whole philosophy baked right in, connecting these modern sustainability goals with India's deep cultural roots. An abode.
So with that in mind, let's start peeling back the layers of GRHI. What exactly makes it so fundamental to India's whole green building movement? We're going to start with where it came from and what makes it so unique.
And this part is absolutely crucial. GRIHA isn't just another green certification you can pick from a list. It is the official national rating system for India. That means it was designed from the ground up, specifically for the country's huge variety of climates and unique building practices. Let's just quickly trace its journey, right? It all started back in 2005. It was developed by the Energy and Resources Institute, you might know them as TERI, as a homegrown indigenous tool. But the real game changer was 2007. That's when the government of India officially adopted it, giving it serious national weight. And today, it's run by the independent GRIHA Council, which keeps it sharp and evolving.
Okay, so we know what it is and where it came from. But why is it so important? Why does it really matter? Well, this next part gets right to the heart of its impact, not just in India, but on a global scale. This is huge. GRIHA is officially written into India's nationally determined contributions. That's basically the country's formal climate action plan that it submits to the UN. It's listed as a primary tool to cut down greenhouse gas emissions from the building sector. So there's a direct line connecting a single construction project to the entire country's climate promises.
The whole philosophy behind GRIHA can pretty much be summed up by this classic saying. The entire system is built on this one simple idea. If you can actually quantify how much energy a building uses, how much water it consumes, how much waste it produces, then you can effectively manage it, control it, and, most importantly, reduce its impact.
And here's what that management gets you. I mean, the results are pretty clear. For the environment, it's obvious. You save energy, you save water. For the economy, building owners save a ton of money on utility bills, and the property is actually worth more. And for the people inside, well, you get better air to breathe, you're more comfortable, and you can even be more productive. It's a true win-win-win situation.
All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. How does a building actually get a GRIHA rating? Let's take a look under the hood at the mechanics.
And that's a fair question, right? It's not as simple as just, adding a few solar panels to their roof and calling it a day. The system is way more comprehensive. It looks at a building from pretty much every angle you can imagine. The absolute key here is its holistic life cycle approach. See, GRIH doesn't just grade the finished building. It starts way before that, evaluating the project before a single shovel hits the ground, looking at the site itself. Then it closely watches the construction phase. And most importantly, it measures the building's actual performance once people are living and working inside. And this gives you a real sense of just how broad this assessment is. The latest version goes so far beyond just energy and water. It dives into everything from where your building materials come from to how comfortable the people inside are, and even socioeconomic things like worker safety. It's incredibly thorough. So, once a building is measured against all those criteria, it gets a score. And based on that final score, the project earns a rating from 1 to 5 stars. Simple enough. But to even get that first star, a project has to hit a minimum of 25 points, which guarantees at least a solid baseline of sustainable practices. Now, what's really cool is that GRIHA hasn't just stood still. It's evolved way beyond a single one-size-fits-all rating. It's now a whole family of specialized tools, each one designed for a different job. I mean, it makes sense, right? The GHI Council recognized that you just can't evaluate a massive skyscraper the same way you'd evaluate a single-family home. So they developed different versions to make sure sustainability is accessible no matter the size of the project. First up is SVHRIH.
And the name says it all. Simple, versatile, affordable. This was a huge step because it made sustainable design way more accessible for smaller projects. Think individual homes or small offices. It really democratized green building, which is so important because these smaller projects make up a huge chunk of all construction.
Then you have the total opposite end of the spectrum, GRIHA LD for large developments. This tool was built to handle the massive environmental footprint of things like university campuses or entire new townships, projects that are so big they pretty much operate like their own small cities.
Now this one is incredibly important. What about the millions of buildings that are already standing? You can't just ignore them. That's where GRIHA for existing buildings comes in. It gives people a clear roadmap for retrofitting and upgrading them, which is a massive challenge, but so critical. And finally, the most ambitious one of them all, GRIHA for cities. This version zooms all the way out to assess the sustainability of an entire urban area. It looks at everything from smart government and public transport to water supply and the overall quality of life for everyone who lives there.
So let's bring this all back together. What's the real-world result of this whole system? How is GRIHA actually building India's green future right now? Well, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. There are over 4,000 projects registered under GRIHA all across the country. And get this, that covers a staggering 930 million square feet of built-up area. This is not some small niche concept. It's happening at a massive scale. So when you boil it all down, GRIHA is that essential bridge. It connects the high-level national policies and climate goals to the practical, on-the-ground reality of a construction site. It is, without a doubt, the roadmap that's guiding India's entire building sector toward a much more sustainable future.
And that leaves us with one final, really important question. We know GRIPHI provides the framework, the roadmap, but as India continues its rapid, incredible development, the challenge is still there. Is every new abode truly being built with sustainability at its heart? It's something to think about.